views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups.
Good evening, I'm Eric Hackley, and this is HackonomicsTV. I'm back after a 2-year absence from a 30-year run of producing and hosting live call-in talk shows on Fort Wayne, Indiana, public access television. The reason you haven't been seeing me or hearing from me is I was kicked out of studios and kicked off the air. I went searching for answers, and I stumbled upon the writings and video commentaries of Neely Fuller Jr. and Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. After reviewing them, I feel more enlightened about the motivations of some people. I feel the show is more diversified, because now, in addition to watching the videos on YouTube, you can read about these same people by going to frostillustrated.com, and I'm more focused on the needs and concerns of Fort Wayne black people.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Willie Lynch may have given a speech in Virginia, but his descendants live here in Fort Wayne.
Yes, sir.
My question is, as part of the Lynch letter, it talks about how if the slave mentality isn't checked within the first 300 years, that it will become perpetual. It's been 301 years, so what is the verdict?
Well, the good point, good question. And believe it or not, that was my plan to teach on that in the lecture today. But when we came, I seen the crowd. For some reason, I said, you know what, let's do a question and answer instead. Check this out. Willie Lynch, whenever he came to America, he was hired by the American white slave masters as a business consultant. Did you know slavery is a business?
Yes, sir.
I don't think y'all, I said is, I didn't say was.
Right.
Slavery is a business.
Right.
How do we know slavery is not still in effect if we don't know what the purpose of slavery was in the first place?
Right.
See, slavery is a business. What's the aim of a business?
Money.
You start a business for profit. But anybody that starts a business has a goal of turning that business into a turnkey operation. What that means is that you don't want to have to be there putting your own sweat equity at work to be able to get that profit from the business. So anybody that opens up a business, they create job descriptions, bylaws, right? Rules of conduct, recipes, or what have you, a system that can be put in place where you can be on vacation in Florida and your business still be making profit even though you're not physically there doing no work. Well, if slavery is a business, the aim of the slave master was never to have to stand over us with no guns and no dogs and no whips or keep us shackled to some chains. They had to figure out a way to come up with some bylaws, some rules, some systems that would keep the slaves in check. Thus, that's what the public education has been. That's what his religion has been. That's what his music has become. That's what his tell lie vision is, telling a lie to the vision. That's what the program is on the radio. It's designed to take the chains off the ankle and off the wrist and put it onto the mind.
That's right.
It's designed to turn slavery into a profitable turnkey operation where they don't have to be there with no chains and no whips and no dogs and no guns, but we would keep ourselves in check. So, brother, what he said, Willie Lynch in 1712, he said, gentlemen, I have in my bag a foolproof plan for the control of your slaves. Control, right? Now, if the goal is to produce control of slaves, look what he says. He said, if implemented effectively for 1 year, the slaves will become self-refueling or self-perpetuating for 300 years, maybe even 1,000. 1712 plus 300 puts us at 2012. Technically, we're supposed to be out of the Willie Lynch curse. But why are we still in it? He said, this is Willie Lynch talking. He said, I use fear, envy, and distrust for control purposes. See, he's not using physical changes.
Right. That's right.
He's using mental changes.
That's right.
Fear, envy, and distrust are things that happen inside the head. Right? What's interesting though, my brother, is that the Bible says about man that God did not create man in the spirit of timidity, but he created man in the spirit of power, love, and self-discipline or sound mind.
Right.
So here God created man's brain to be originally on a frequency of power, love, and self-discipline. But what does Willie Lynch do? He comes to alter the frequency of the original man's mind. So God put three things in: power, love, self-discipline. That's the channel we're supposed to be on.
Right.
Willie Lynch comes and he changes the channel. He replaces power, love, and self-discipline with fear, envy, and distrust. Have you ever bought a universal remote control?
Right.
Well, when you buy a universal remote control, they tell you that in order for you to get the remote control to control that television, you have to put in a certain code. Is that right?
That's right.
And once you put in the code for that device, now you can control that television wirelessly. Is that right? If you have a remote control car, plane, helicopter, what makes it able for that one controller to control that car, but not control the other car?
Right.
It's because both the remote and the car have to be on the exact same frequency. And when they are on the same frequency, this device can control that car, but this device cannot control that car.
That's right.
So what Willie Lynch did is he readjusted the frequency of our mind.
Right, sir.
Where now we are set up on fear, envy, and distrust, so we only respond to white people whenever they say move.
Right.
So when Marcus Garvey was among us, he was trying to tell us, but we wasn't on his frequency.
Right.
When all of our leaders have come, they've been telling us things, but we are on a different frequency.
That's right.
But as soon as white people say something, move left, left. Move right, right. Because minds have been readjusted to the frequency of our slave master instead of the frequency of God.
Right.
So when God raises up messengers, martyrs, revolutionaries, teachers, we heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we moved a little bit, but we didn't follow him like we should.
Right.
We got the minister in our midst right now, and he's sending powerful signals to us, but because our brains are still adjusted to that old Willie Lynch frequency, we don't hear him whenever he speaks and respond like we're supposed to respond. So, question. This is the math real quick. I'm going to show you this math. After he said he uses fear, envy, and distrust for control purposes, that's the readjustment of the frequency of our mind where we would be ill-equipped to hear God when God talked through whoever he talked through.
That's right.
Y'all with that?
Yes, sir.
Then look what he said. He said, I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves. And I make them bigger than what they really are. He said, I'll put the old against the young, young against the old. Male against female, female against male. I'll put the light against dark, dark against light. Short against tall, tall against short. Coarse hair versus straight hair. One on a small plantation and ours with the one on a big plantation. This what he said?
Yes, sir.
Do the math. He named 11 different natural differences that we have as people, but he turned them into unnatural divisions. So he said that if you institute my plan, it will be self-fulfilling, self-perpetuating for 300 years, maybe 1,000. Guess what that means? If 11 differences produces 300 years of disunity,